Captain Marcus Chen had seen his share of strange worlds during his 15 years as a deep space surveyor, but Kepler 4422c still managed to surprise him. The planet's dual suns cast everything in an amber twilight, and the crystalline forests hummed with an almost musical resonance when the wind passed through them. He'd been conducting routine mineral scans for the past 3 days, his small survey ship Wanderer parked in a clearing surrounded by towering crystal spires. The sound that drew his attention wasn't part of the planet's natural symphony. It was a weak, pitiful mewing that tugged at something primal in his chest. Marcus set down his geological scanner and followed the sound deeper into the crystal grove. Behind a cluster of rose-colored formations, he found the source. The creature was no larger than a house cat, but its anatomy was distinctly feline in the most exotic sense. Its fur shimmered between deep purple and midnight blue, like oil on water, and 2 sets of eyes, one pair golden, the other silver, gazed up at him with desperate intelligence. The being's frame was skeletal thin, ribs visible beneath its lustrous coat. Most striking were the small, vestigial wings folded against its back, gossamer thin and barely functional. "Well, hello there, little one," Marcus murmured, crouching down slowly. The creature didn't flee, which told him everything about its condition. It was too weak to run. Marcus retrieved his emergency rations from his pack, standard protein bars, that could sustain human life indefinitely, but probably tasted like cardboard. He broke off a piece and offered it cautiously. The creature's 4 eyes fixed on the food with laser intensity before it practically inhaled the morsel. Over the next hour, Marcus fed the alien cub small portions, careful not to overwhelm its starved system. Between bites, the creature studied him with an intelligence that made Marcus increasingly certain this wasn't just some exotic pet. Its vocalizations had structure, pattern, almost like primitive language. "Your people are probably worried sick about you," Marcus said, offering another piece of protein bar. "But I can't exactly put out a missing person report for an alien, can I?" The creature, Marcus had started thinking of it as Nova, due to the way its fur sparkled, finally ate its fill and curled up against Marcus's leg. The trust implicit in that gesture made his chest tighten with unexpected emotion. In all his years exploring the cosmos, he'd never encountered anything quite so endearing. As the dual suns began to set, painting the crystal forest in deeper shades of amber and gold, Nova suddenly perked up. Its wing stubs twitched, and it let out a series of complex chirps and trills. Before Marcus could react, the small creature bounded away into the crystal maze, leaving him alone with the gathering. Darkness. "Well," Marcus sighed, "guess that's goodbye then." He'd barely finished the thought when the forest around him began to vibrate, not the gentle harmonic resonance of wind through crystal, but something deeper, more powerful. The ground beneath his feet thrummed with purposeful footsteps, and Marcus instinctively reached for the plasma pistol at his hip. She emerged from between the crystal spires like a living shadow made flesh. If Nova had been house cat-sized, this creature stood easily 7 feet tall at the shoulder. Her build was that of a great cat, powerful, predatory, graceful, but scaled up to magnificent proportions. The same oil-slick fur covered her form, shifting between purple, blue, and hints of silver in the dying light. 4 eyes, arranged in the same pattern as Nova's, regarded Marcus with an intelligence that was definitely not animal. But it was. Her bearing that truly caught his attention. She moved with deliberate sensuality, each step calculated for maximum impact. Her tail, long and leonine, swayed hypnotically as she approached. When she spoke, and Marcus was somehow not surprised that she could, her voice was a rich contralto that seemed to resonate in his bones. "You fed my cub," she said, the words carefully enunciated despite the obvious differences in vocal anatomy. "This is unexpected." Marcus kept his hand near his weapon but didn't draw it. Something told him that if she'd wanted him dead, he'd already be dead. He was starving. Anyone would have done the same. Her head tilted, and Marcus caught something that might have been amusement in her quad-eyed gaze. Anyone? No, small human. Your kind has a reputation in this sector. Destroyer species, we call you. Takers of worlds, slayers of innocence. Yet you... She circled him slowly, and Marcus fought the urge to turn and keep her in sight. You chose compassion. What happened to him? To Nova? To your cub? Nova? That was definitely amusement now. He hunted too far from our territory and became lost. By the time I found his trail, he was days without food. I expected to find his remains. She stopped directly in front of Marcus, close enough that he could feel the heat radiating from her massive frame. Instead, I find him healthy, full, and carrying the scent of human kindness. Marcus swallowed hard. Up close, her presence was overwhelming, not just her size, but something else. Pheromones, maybe, or just the raw charisma of an apex predator who chose to speak rather than strike. I have traveled many worlds, she continued, and encountered many species. Most who find a vulnerable young creature see opportunity for profit or entertainment. You saw a child in need. Her great head dipped lower, bringing those 4 eyes level with his. I am Takara, Huntress Prime of the Nexi Pride, and you, small human, have earned something very rare. What's that? Our protection. Takara's tail brushed against his shoulder, a gesture that sent electricity down his spine. The Nexi do not forget debts of honor. Your survey ship, your mission here, both are now under Pride protection. Any who threaten you, threaten us. Marcus felt his worldview shifting. In all the xenobiology reports, all the first contact protocols, nobody had prepared him for this. For creatures who looked like mythological demons but acted with codes of honor that put most human civilizations to shame. Why? He asked. I just shared some food. Takara's rumbling laugh was like distant thunder. Just shared food? You chose to preserve life rather than preserve resources. You chose trust over fear, compassion over caution. These are not just anything, Marcus Chen. The fact that she knew his name should have been alarming, but somehow it wasn't. Marcus found himself stepping closer to the magnificent alien huntress, drawn by something beyond mere curiosity. What happens now? He asked. Takara's quad eyes gleamed in the starlight. Now, honored friend, you discover what it means to have the friendship of the Nexi. And perhaps... Her tail curled around his wrist, gentle but unmistakably possessive. Perhaps you learn that the greatest treasures in the universe are not found in crystal caves or distant stars, but in the bonds forged between kindred spirits. As Nova bounded back into view, healthy and exuberant, Marcus realized his simple survey mission had just become something far more extraordinary. In feeding a starving cub, he'd gained an ally, a protector, and possibly something even more precious. A connection that transcended species, bridging the vast gulf between human and alien through the simple act of choosing kindness over indifference. The universe, Marcus reflected, was full of surprises,